What's up, metalheads and rockers? It's been a while since we've seen your faces or seen whatever was going on in the metal world and the rock world and all that other shit. Hope you guys are keeping your horns up, and if you're not doing it for metal or rock, you're doing it completely wrong. As you know, we're Underground Noise Webzine podcast. We always bring you the finest and most intense extreme metal bands and any other musicians that feel like getting their names out there a little bit more. And tonight, I'd like to say happy brutal new year to everyone. Thanks to everyone that subscribed since last year and since it started. But I don't want to be a big introduction. Tonight, we're talking with John Letzkus from No Moz. Welcome, John.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
That's good, man. That's good. I'm glad you could be a part of this tonight. So welcome aboard, dude. Your webisode
Oh
number
yeah.
141.
What was that?
You are webisode number 141, sir.
Oh, sweet. That's my lucky number.
Hey, there you go. You might win it in the lottery someday. You never know until you try.
Yeah, well, wouldn't that be nice?
Hey, everybody wishes for the best, right? But the first question I'm going to throw at you, John, is this one. Before the band No Moz was, in existence, for yourself, what band or say what bands to you had the most extreme, sickest, yet grotesque artwork that you could ever think of that got you to write the music that you write?
Like artwork wise,
Yes.
um, probably not the sickest or most grotesque, but like the first ones that like got me into that stuff was like Cannibal Corpse, like Butchered at Birth, Tomb of the Mutilated. I saw those when I was a kid, and that kind of set me on that. That's what got me out of thrash metal and started getting me more into death metal and grindcore and black metal.
That's fucking epic, dude, because I happen to be wearing Campbell Corpse Chaos Horrific Tour shirt from last year.
Hell yeah.
Excellent, man. They never disappoint.
No, they're probably one of the most consistent bands in the game. So, wait, I actually just met Alex Webster on this last tour we did. He was at our show, and that was like crazy. I couldn't believe it.
You know, sometimes you have to shit your pants figuratively in order to
Yeah,
just something happen like that. I remember meeting Alex back in '09 in Albany, New York at Northern Lights, and what a great fucking time. That's before Eric joined the band.
yeah. I know. I met Eric probably about 10 years ago, and I have kept up with him through email, but I haven't talked to him the last couple years because obviously he's way more busy now. But yeah, I mean he's a cool guy too.
Absolutely, dude. One of the most humble dudes on the planet by far.
Yeah, he is for sure.
Hell yeah, dude. Let me ask you this question, John. If you could go on a tour with your dream band, who would you say your dream band is to go on tour with?
Uh, well, well, Slayer, but that probably won't happen. You know, if I could have toured with any band, it would be like the classic Slayer lineup.
Like Jeff
Um,
Hanneman?
oh yeah, yeah. Jeff Hanneman's my number one favorite guitar player.
Awesome, dude. Jeff Hanneman had
So
some great stuff.
yeah, yeah. I mean, just when I was a kid, he was like one of the first ones I really, just I don't know, just gravitated towards. So, but you know, then that's not possible. I mean, Napalm Death would be good. Ministry, um, Cannibal Corpse, any one of those like bigger, classic, crazy bands would be sick.
That's really cool. Speaking of Napalm Death, this might sound like a funny question to you, but what happens to be your favorite album by them? For me personally, it's Fear, Emptiness, and Despair, and also the first release, Scum.
Utopia Banished.
That's a good one too.
I think that one's like the older stuff. like Scum and From Enslavement to Obliteration. Like I like the songs, but it just sounds so shitty. And Harmony Corruption, I love Harmony Corruption. That has the best riffs out of all of them, I think, but the songs are a little too long. But Utopia Banished, I feel like, is like the perfect that's like the songs are a little shorter and they put a little bit more of the grind back in it, but still kept the death metal. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that album was the sweet spot of Napalm Death for me.
That's what's up, dude. Let's see what Rhino's got for you tonight, John.
All right. First and foremost, what do these guys have locked in for this year? Any recording, any tours set up now?
We're doing like 4 shows in the Midwest with that grindcore band Bandit. But like those are really the only shows that we have planned for this year because we need a new record. We've been on tour for 2 years. And like we had come home after we did like a 8 week long tour in the summer and we went to Mexico like right afterwards. So like we got home after like 2.5 months and the goal was to, do a new record and get that ready. We should be recording that right now. But what happened was we ended up getting the offer to tour with Berhedia, and we were like, okay, well, we have to do that. So then we went back into like rehearsal mode, and then we went out on tour, and that was a really long tour. So now we're home again, working on the new record. So that's like top priority this year. And I mean, not to mention like I think we were on tour for like 8 months last year, or this past year.
Right.
And then the year before that, it was something similar. So right now, it's just we definitely need like a little bit of a break and to just work on music.
Oh, absolutely.
We might do some overseas stuff this summer, but I think it'll probably be late summer before we do any kind of like touring this year. We're really trying to just the last tour we were definitely like you could tell that like we needed a break because we were starting to get
wanting to kill each other.
Not so much. We actually get along better now than we used to, but this last tour like everyone got sick on the tour and like I had bronchitis the entire tour and the rest of the guys had basically the same thing and it wore pretty thin on us and like we just couldn't get better because like we had to drive or load in or shows or something like that and we were just like dude we need a break. So but yeah. I think I took like a couple days off and I've been working on new music for shit pretty much ever since we got back. Like I just sitting there like riffing, getting like riffs ready for the album.
Yeah, I saw your first and last shows with Cro-Mags, first show, everyone's running in. Yeah. Last show, like get this over with. I want to lay in my bed.
Yeah. That was a hard tour because all of the drives, it was like there was no days off and every single show was like a 7 or 8 hour drive.
Yeah.
And that makes it very, very hard. Because like we weren't sleeping like at all.
Right.
So and
Somebody's
then we
drive.
we lost our bass player when we got back from that tour. So that was a rough tour to get through.
Yeah, that was well the last show was AC, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and our van actually broke down because we were so stoked when we left that show. We were like, oh man, we're gonna be home in like 2.5 hours. And it was like right after we passed out of Delaware, got into Maryland, the van broke down at like 5 a.m. and it was like 12 degrees outside. And we couldn't get a hold of anybody because it was just so late. And so we were like, fuck, we have to just sleep in the van until, somebody we know wakes up. And so we're like trying to sleep in the van and it's like freezing cold. And we finally got a hold of our bass player. He called his girlfriend and she came and picked him up only, and he just left. He's like, "See you guys, good luck."
Oh wow.
And
That's
so,
a big move.
he's not in the band anymore. So, but yeah, I mean, like we had to, we basically had to wait a couple hours in the freezing cold. And when I say we were freezing, it was fucking cold. And my brother-in-law finally came out and got us, and because he's a mechanic, so we got the van towed to like some kind of shop, and my brother-in-law came and got us. But yeah, so that was like right after, as soon as we left that Atlantic City show, and we were so happy to be going home, and
Yep.
we were sleeping on the side of the road in Maryland for hours.
Yep. Been there.
Yeah.
Been there. All right, a totally off the wall question. This will be a curveball. All
What's
right,
that?
you get to bring a musician back from the dead, but in return you have to sacrifice a modern musician. Who's coming up? Who's going down?
Oh man, do they have to be metal?
No.
It'd be any genre or subgenre.
I mean, definitely coming back would be Jeff Hanneman. Uh, yeah, Jeff Hanneman would be the one. But I'm having a hard time figuring out who would go because there's so many of them.
Well,
I feel like
the worst.
I feel like there's a couple that I would trade just for, Jeff Hanneman back.
Yeah, you can put more than one down.
Man, this might get me in some hot water. I
We can always cut it out.
I'm trying to think of something that's not gonna get me in hot water. I mean, pretty much, honestly, anyone from Korn can go, or Fred Durst, or any of those new,
My man.
any of those new metal dorks can go.
That's a great answer. Love you. I love you for that, man. Excellent.
I when the new metal thing came around, I was already like balls deep in death metal and black metal. So it was the only one out of those bands that I thought was good at that time was that first Slipknot album, because it was like still kind of metal, The rest of the bands I just thought were really silly.
I agree with you.
Absolutely.
That self-titled album was brutal as fuck. And I actually happen to like Iowa a lot too.
Yeah, I mean that album's cool too, but that's probably like my cutoff with them as well. But like they get the new metal pass, and like the first two Fear Factory albums, I love those. And then after that, I'm out with that too.
Cool. What you got, Al?
Well, let's see. Got a soda. I know that much. So John, you like to play guitar, right? What kind of guitar pick do you like to use the most? And I was going to let you know, I just got my DC Rich Warlock back today from the shop, and I'm trying to figure out how to work with Jazz 3 guitar picks. And for me, they're kind of hard to, maneuver, but I'm trying to learn as much as I can.
I mean, I know guys that use those. I can't do it. My fingers are too big for those. I just use like just a 1 millimeter black Dunlop pick.
I use
like
this
just standard. And nothing special about it.
I'd say that answer would be the one that you can find.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
It's funny you brought up the guitar picks, because I actually have a funny Harley Flanagan story about guitar picks.
Oh, sick.
So this man goes through guitar picks faster than anyone I've ever seen, and unfortunately, he uses the same picks as me. And I was the only one on the tour that used the same picks as him. So, a week and a half into the tour, he'd come up to me every night and be like, "Hey, John, give me a pick. Give me a pick." After a while, I'm like running out of picks, right? So we go to Guitar Center. I buy 2 bags for myself, And I even bought Harley a bag of the same picks. So he asked me for a pick, and I just gave him a bag of them. I'm like, here you go, man. Thank you. Here you go. And he's like, oh, dude, thank you so. Like he was so, man. 5 days later, he's like, dude, I need a pick. I was like, dude, are you eating these? Like, where are they going? But yeah, I bought more picks on that tour than any tour that I've ever done. Like I'm still like every day, like when I practice and write, I'm still using like one of two picks that I've had on the last 7 week tour because I never get rid of them unless someone asks me for them. But I usually give them like this company sent me like some personalized picks or whatever, but I don't really like them. But they're like bright yellow and have our logo and stuff on them. So usually when someone asks for a pick, that's what they want. So I just give them those. But like I've had like the same two picks, all through the last tour, and still have them. But when on that Cro-Mags tour, it was bad.
I don't know what he'd do with them.
He drops them and then people grab them.
Yeah, that's a lot to go through.
Yeah, like there was like one night that like all the picks were gone, and like I was using like our bass player's bass pick, like so one of those real giant picks.
Yeah.
And so I'm like trying to play this like really fast shit with that, and I was like, man, this sucks. So yeah, that's Harley Cro-Mags consumes picks faster than any musician that I've ever seen.
Yeah, the reason why
weed.
I'll tell you why I had asked you that is because I also use the same pick you use, the 1mm Dunlop nylon picks.
You got the grip on it.
Yeah, you can't beat that. And if you do lose your grip, at least you can grab one off the next time.
Yeah. Well, when a couple years ago, I had gotten this other company sent me like personalized picks with like our Nun, like our first album, like the Nun with the gun. Like they looked cool as shit. But like after I would play the set once, like the ends of them would be completely rounded off and it'd always like slip out of my hands. So every time I use picks that aren't those like black Dunlops, they're either like destroyed. So I mean those things just last, and I never drop them because of those grips. So I figure if it's not broke, don't fix it.
That's right. Sometimes my fingers will get a little too sweaty and I do lose my grip, but at the same time, I'm gripping onto it like I'm strangling a snake to death. It's like die.
Okay, you're going off course here.
Yeah, just a little bit. We're talking about the Rhino. What do you expect? We're guitarists, man. We're not misogynists.
I never had. People ask me about my guitar stuff all the time. They never ask me about the picks though, so that's kind of cool. That's the first for me.
Well, hey, I'm glad I could ask you that. What was the first death metal album you purchased? And for me personally, it was Scrolls of Megaloth by Mortification, and after that, it was Butchered at Birth by Cannibal Corpse.
It's Tomb of the Mutilated.
That album is fucking great.
It was funny. It was because I'm 43, and I got that album. I literally just bought it because of the album cover. At that time, the heaviest thing that I had ever heard was Sepultura, and I was way into Sepultura at that time. Like, that was like the step up from Slayer. Like it kind of went like when I first started playing was like Van Halen, hair metal, stuff like that, and then I got into Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, then Sepultura. And then any of the other thrash bands like Testament and Overkill, Exodus and stuff. And then I just one day I was in the music store and I saw that Tomb of the Mutilated cover and I was just like, this has to be fucking heavy. And so I got it and I was instantly blown away. Like I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And then 2 weeks later, Ace Ventura came out and I went to go see the movie. And then that scene with Hammer Smash Face popped up, and I was like, "That's the band." It was like right before that movie came out that I got the record. So that was my first death metal experience.
That's definitely a win-win situation for sure.
Yeah, it was awesome. But
Got a
then also
question.
like, yeah, what's that?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I was just gonna say like shortly after that, I found Morbid Angel and Deicide, like the company bands, and then I started seeing Dying Fetus local shows because they're a local band to where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the first death metal band that I ever seen like a show from. So, that's they're still one of my favorite bands ever.
Yeah, these guys have Dying Fetus, Lamb of God came out of there.
Yeah.
Well, this is
All
going to
right,
be
let me throw you this one. Oh, sorry.
okay. I know I was going to ask him one last question
Oh,
before I hand it back over to you real quick.
oh, go for it.
Okay. Now on your last album, Consume Deny Repent, I forgot the name of the first song, but it really melted my face. And to me, that song just is the perfect start of that album. How did you go about finding what songs you wanted to put into this order to make your album sound the way it sounds? Like, did you have different ideas at first and then you figured out saying, hey, this song should go after this one?
I had a rough idea, like, because I write like most of like the riffs, and we definitely have like a Metallica dynamic, like how like our drummer, like I'll bring the songs in, and then when he starts playing them, the feel changes, so we'll kind of readjust the structures and everything. And then like sometimes my time signatures get like pretty wild and out there, and he'll kind of bring me back down to reality and like keep it in he'll keep me from getting a little too techie or whatever. But like I don't know. So we had like a bunch of songs, and that song we actually wrote right before we went into the studio. That was the very last one, and it's honestly probably my least favorite on the record because it doesn't sound done to me. It to me it sounds like it just stops in the middle of the song, which basically I brought in that what you hear on the record. Uh, I wrote that like, and I brought that all in, and I was like, hey, I have half a song, and we put it together, and our drummer was like, oh, we should just end it right there. And I was like, all right, sure, like. But I mean, we were going in the studio for a week, or like in a week, and we had to go to California to record that album. So it was like we had to leave in like 4 days or something. So we didn't really have time to like mess with it. But yeah, I was just at home one night, and I was just like, I don't know, yeah, it just came out of me. It was like, to me, it sounded like Sepultura before like he put all the blast beats in it. Like the beginning riff was just like Beneath the Remains, and like Inner Self was like the main riff was like that was like I mean, like I was just like jamming like Sepultura stuff and like variations of it, and that came out. And like I said, when he started adding like the blast beats and stuff to it, it completely changed the feel of it. Um, but yeah, I mean, out of all of them, it just sounded like the best opening track. Plus, like our last album started off like, or our first album, it started off like completely insane. Like it was just right off the bat, it was just on 10. And I thought it would be kind of cool, like, because that album, like, it starts off crazy and then it switches into like that kind of groove riff or whatever. And I thought that was kind of cool, like, just make it a little unexpected, kind of. But every time, but I'll tell you the one thing about that song: every time we try and play it live, it doesn't go well. There's something about it where it just kind of sucks live.
Totally
So,
understand. You're up, Rhino.
Hmm?
all right, let's talk about song inspiration. What would you say is the weirdest inspiration for a song? And what would you say would be the most surprising influence for one of your songs?
um. So the most surprising influence for a lot of our songs would be Nirvana. That's a big influence on everyone in the band. And I'm not really talking about like like the radio singles. I mean like some of their like weirder stuff.
Yeah.
And some of their more like raw, noisy type of stuff. Keeping it like their songs were like simple, straight to the point, noisy, aggressive, stuff like that. Like that, and that's definitely something that we take from that band and apply it to us. Like I mean, there's other punk bands that play a huge role in our sound too, because I mean, we're just as much punk as we are metal. But
Well,
yeah, I mean that when we first started, we used to like, you know, listen to Nirvana a lot. Like we'd be all like getting drunk and listening to
right.
like the Incesticide album or Bleach or something like that. But so that's the most surprising. But I don't know, like a lot of the times, like the songs come about just from me, like I'm just sitting there practicing, like Dying Fetus is Dying Fetus and Napalm Death are like the two like number one influences always. Like
What would you say lyrically? Like, um, any of your song lyrics, what would be the weirdest influences there? Not musically, like what brought you to write certain songs?
I don't know because I don't write the
No.
lyrics.
Okay, you're not doing any. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, sometimes I'll have ideas and he'll like kind of go off of that. But I mean, that's his department. We have, I write all the riffs, me and the drummer arrange them, and then he writes the lyrics. And our responsibilities are very delegated like that.
Okay.
So, but I mean, from what I know, he writes a lot about like, mental illness. The new album, the one that we're working on now, is the meanest one we've ever done. It's pretty much just about killing people. So it's the most angry lyrically uh, that I know for sure. Like the we released a new song that'll be on the new album. But the demo of that song, Spineless, that's I'm not gonna say who it's about, but it's about somebody that we don't like very much. So, and that was, he was just like, "Oh, I wrote this song about that person," and I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Because I want to kill them." So, so, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope that answers your question, but
Yeah, no, it works out. All right, one more before I hand it to Al. This one's totally off. But what advice do you give to your 10-year-old self? Musically, non-musically, doesn't matter.
um, uh, stay in college and just I don't know, not do this. Just don't do this. Like, do anything else other than this.
Well, we're all going to live and die. Why not enjoy it and have something to talk about?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm too far along to stop, but
Right.
if I could do it over again, I would do it as more of a hobby and not a full-time thing.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to even make a small portion of your money back.
It's and it's funny because the DIY scene that we came up through, like, I've seen and heard some snide comments about like, because we have a guarantee now or like, like money, this, that, and the other thing. And it's kind of crazy that like, I mean, we make enough to like pay our bills,
Right.
after we're gone for like 8 weeks. That's it. I mean, like, it's not, and it's fucked up because, when we see how much money that we actually made on the tour versus what we actually came home with, it's
Right.
really upsetting. It's extremely upsetting.
I mean,
So,
gas alone.
oh yeah, that's a big one. And it's just not only that, like booking agent, managers, that's, a portion of our income right there. But without those people, then we wouldn't be getting the opportunities that we're getting. So it's like, there's no money for like profit.
Right.
So we actually we made the joke on the last tour that we weren't looking forward to going home because when we're on tour, we're more comfortable financially. And then once we get home and then split everything up, it's like, oof.
Yeah. Yeah. I do remember the AC show. There was something with your guys' contracts with that venue. I don't know if you
Oh,
know this, but G-Man pulled money out of his pocket.
yeah, they short and that happens a lot. They short the club promoters will be like, "Oh no, this is what we agreed to pay." And it's like, "No, I have the paperwork right here."
Yeah,
And
but
and that
G-Man pulled his wallet out.
that I mean, that happens like being the
Yep.
one of the openers, like when we were on tour with Sangwi Sugabog, there was one night where the promoter was just like, "Yeah, I'm not going to pay you," and we were like, "Dude, we have a guarantee. Like, you have to pay us." And he's like, "I don't have to do anything." And it's Sangwi Sugabog ended up just like paying us out of their cut, just because like they were like, "That's fucked up." They were like, "How are you gonna just not going to pay them?" So that yeah, that shit happens all the time too. Like promoters, they'll just short you. They'll be like, "Oh, the opening band, fuck them. We'll short them $100 or whatever." And usually the headlining band will step in when that happens to help,
Yeah.
and that's really cool. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
that
just Gary. That was just Gary that I saw do it.
yeah, that makes sense. That's my man.
Yeah. He's in Germany now,
Yeah,
back in Germany,
yeah, I heard.
doing a
We
Tina Turner musical.
makes sense. Yeah, he's our drummer and him talk a lot. I think I've talked to him like one time since the tour. But yeah, he's cool, man.
Oh, what you got and how much time we got this segment?
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Yeah, six
And then
minutes.
we can break for 10, helps my back, helps us stretch out. And then we just come back on and I edit it seamlessly, if that works
Cool.
for you.
I was gonna
Yeah, it's
say,
good.
yeah, give or take 10, 12 minutes at least. But this is a question going back to touring situations, if you don't mind.
Hmm.
Okay, say there's a new metal band out there. They just want to get their feet dusted, just trying to surface a little bit. What advice would you give those bands that are doing their first tour?
Ooh,
Probably the
they
advice you gave yourself, stay in college.
uh,
Stay
well, I
sober.
mean, if you're at that point where now is this a DIY tour or is this a like like
Well,
you just got on like a tour package type thing?
um, well, the reason why I'm asking this is because my band and my friend's one-man band, we're both doing a festival in Arkansas in May. Plus, we're doing a mini tour on our way there and after it. So it's actually our
Hmm.
first tour ever. But personally, I've done a tour before back when I had a band called Obliterated Soul, but he's got fetal embalmment and we both have Nightmare Crypt. And what I'm basically saying is like, what kind of advice would you say that you should give us in order to have a successful time?
You know what? And this goes universally for your situation, for even if you're like on a big touring package, make sure whatever vehicle you're driving is good and solid. If
And
you
well
like,
insured.
well, yeah, I mean that goes without saying, but I
Yeah.
mean like just make sure you got your tires good, make sure that the engine's fine, like you know what I mean, like make sure that motherfucker is good, that the transmission isn't slipping, because one thing out of every band that I've ever met has a million van stories, and those fucking vans break in the worst places, like
Oh, yeah.
in the absolute worst places, and people take advantage of it. Like they'll see a band and they're like, "Oh, they're a band, they've got money," so it sucks. We've gotten taken advantage of a lot and then gotten 100 miles away and then the van breaks down again.
Mm.
So definitely make sure whatever touring vehicle that a band's gonna take out, it better be fucking solid and reliable.
Yeah, I thought about this the other day. I saw it was a green Dodge Ram work van. And I'm thinking, why repair it? Just steal it. Like, be on the lookout for a green Dodge work van. Like, every Dodge work van was green.
That's what we had when we broke down on that Chromex tour. It
Yep.
was a green Dodge Ram.
Yep.
So, and that thing was always breaking down.
Yeah,
and our new van, we spent a whole lot of money on, has a fucking oil leak now. So we have to get that fixed before we do those shows in February. So it's never ending with the van things. Like, if you can get a mechanic in your band, that's the second piece of advice I would say.
that's really good advice. I think that's the best advice I've heard ever since I came up with that question today in my head. So thanks for that.
It's just because I mean any other answer could, doesn't apply to everyone, but that one is universal to even the biggest bands. I mean, when we were on tour with Bavaria, their bus kept breaking down. Their bus broke down like 3 times on the tour. So like even though the real big bands and buses aren't immune to that shit. So it's like the common equalizer amongst all touring musicians.
Yeah, I really appreciate that answer.
And fuck, Leonard Skinner's plane crashed.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, like I told you, John, that's the best answer I could ever ask for. So thanks for that.
You're welcome, man. I hope that you or anyone else doesn't go through the shit that we've gone through with the vans.
Well,
yeah, me doing photography, I learned when I bought my car now, I'm like, I'm buying the smallest possible car ever. Because then you don't have people trying to hop in. Like,
we did this tour. I'm not going to say the artist's name, but it was like a noise guy that used to be a grindcore band. And when we were asked to do the tour, we were like, yeah, sure. And then it just ended up being this guy with like his laptop and some pedals or something. And he's like driving like a brand new car and everything. And like, one day he was just like, oh man, this tour's been pretty rough. And we're just like, after, we've had to stop and change tires and all, shit's breaking down. Like, we're just like, man, you're in a rental car. I don't even want to hear about this.
Back, dudes. Here we go again. Trying to think of a good question to throw at you. In fact, my mind is drawing a blank at the moment because I had a question and then I just went, see ya. Ryan, you want to start this segment, bro?
Yeah, why not?
Awesome.
All right. See if you want to call out a mega fan. Outside of family, what fan would you say has been to the most of your shit, the most shows of yours?
There's quite a few of them. Like a lot of them actually. God, I'll say that this dude Nate, who plays bass for that band Skullcrack from California.
Oh, okay.
That guy owns shit from us that I didn't even know we had. So I mean, he has like 11 different variants of our first record. And it's funny because I didn't even know those variants existed until I seen him post a picture of it, and I was like, "What? I didn't know we had blue records. Like, where the hell did those come from?" So he's up there.
That's pretty cool. All right, and off topic again because I'm good at that. All right, this is Roger, our silent co-host. Would you like to make a confession to him?
He's our mascot.
He's our official co-host.
Oh, well, that
silent co-host.
That too.
Don't hurt his feelings.
Well, one that really makes the metal community butthurt is when I say Carcass's best album is Heartwork.
Yes, good album.
I mean, that's if I listen to Carcass, that's the album I listen to. I especially don't listen to the older ones because they sound like absolute shit. So I like Surgical Steel a little bit too. That's a pretty good album, but basically, if I listen to the Carcass, like if I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go listen to Carcass, I really only listen to Heartwork.
What about Symphonies of Sickness?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that as a
it just it just sounds so like muddy and flat and sloppy. You know, it's I don't know, like I guess I'm just not into like the more sloppy sounding recordings. Like I'm not, you know, that's just not my thing. Which is weird because you know I'm in a grindcore band or whatever, but I tend to like records that like sound good where everybody plays well. It's just my thing. So yeah, that's my confession.
Too cool. Too cool. How would you describe the chemistry of No Moss?
Volatile. Um, we have a very like we respect each other a lot, but we don't get along very well. You know, just not nobody in the band's like a bad person, but we're extremely different people. You know, and like we have like different like just viewpoints in general about how music should sound and you know what we want out of music. So that you know tends to cause a lot of friction. But you know, when we finally get on the same page about something, that's usually when something cool happens. But
Makes sense.
sometimes it takes a while to get to that point. You know,
What was
but
that noise?
Uh,
All right.
we were talking about Confessions with Roger Wilco.
Oh, that's right.
Then I don't know where it went after that. So,
oh, that was yeah, and I said the Heartwork thing from Carcass.
yep. And I asked you about Symphonies of Sickness, and you're like, eh. I'm thinking, okay, like that. Yeah, I agree with you. Hard Work is a fucking badass album. Every metalhead should have that in their collection. And if they don't, they're posers.
Well, dude, you know what it is? Is like I grew up like I got into music from like listening to like Dokken and Van Halen and Rat and stuff like that, and I really like shreddy guitar stuff. Like I fucking love Iron Maiden a lot, you know, and you know Heartwork has that element in it, and you know the same reason why I liked Death, you know, it has that shreddy element to it. Um, so I mean, yeah, I mean that's why that album to me is better than the older ones.
Got a question for you, John. I've asked this
What
before
was it?
in the past with other bands and other musicians. What would you say is your top five favorite albums of all time?
Top five.
Or if you want to
Uh,
make it a top 10, you can. That's
well,
you.
it may. I mean, it can be. You know, Master of Puppets, Hell Awaits, uh, Psalm 69 from Ministry, In Utero from Nirvana. Um, then Killing on Adrenaline from Dying Fetus. That's one of my favorites.
That's an excellent album.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you asked me like, you know, a week from now, it might say something different, but you know, those five are definitely albums that have stayed with me my entire life. Master of Puppets, especially, that was like when I first heard that album, that definitely changed my life.
That's awesome. My next question for you, John, would be: are there any bands that you're listening to currently that leave you mind blown?
Like newer bands?
Yeah, newer ones.
Um, you know what? There is, and I'm drawing a blank. Um, I really like that new Harm's Way record. I don't know if you guys have heard them. Like I know, like everyone jokes about them because of the memes and everything, but their new album was really good. Um, the what was the other that band Skullcrack that I mentioned? They're awesome. Um, There was this band we played with in Missouri last year called Primitive Rage. And they're pretty badass. Yeah. Yeah. This is another one of them things where I'm sure, like, when I'm done with the interview, there will be like 50 of these bands pop up that, like, yeah, I go and see a band called Deliriant Nerve. They're from DC. They're fucking awesome. A band called Galatia from DC. They're fucking awesome. Yeah, there's too many in my head. I can't like get it out.
Yeah, I'll name one that's actually been blowing my mind lately, and that's Sanguizugabog and also Soprogenous.
Oh, Soprogenous. I know Ted. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, that's Ted Bad. I got to give him a shout out too. Be like, yo, Ted, what's up, homie? See you in Arkansas.
That's my boy, man. Like he's like, if I had a brother, it would probably end up being him.
Yeah, Ted's a great guy. He was on the podcast too.
Yeah, he's cool, man. I like Soprogenous too. Sanguisugabog, obviously, love those guys. We toured with them, and
you say actually, Super Bob?
Sanguisugabog.
Oh, I thought you said Super Bob. I don't know if you saw that guy.
SpongeBob, Rhino, SpongeBob.
Right.
Sanguisugabog, actually, their second show was opening for us. Like, excellent. It was like yeah, they had like just started, and then they like 6 months later like blew up.
It's funny saying that names 25 times fast because you'll fuck it up every time you try to do it. You know what I mean? That's happened to me so many times, and it's because the one interview that I had with Eston Brown from Volnificus, YouTube on closed captioning got it wrong again. Instead of saying Sanguizugabog, YouTube decided to say Sugar Bobs. Where's Sugar Bobs? Is that a restaurant that I'm not familiar with, or some dive of a bar, or a hole in the wall, or some shit? Who knows?
I mean, honestly, I couldn't even say it until they told me how to say it. So, that was one of those names where like I'm just there's some metal band names, man, where I just look at them like I'm not even gonna try. I'm not even gonna try to say it.
Yeah, because when I saw their logo, I honestly instantly thought, who drew this pile of vomit and why? Because I couldn't make out their logo, and I couldn't make out the letters, and I was just like, okay. Then I figured out what the band was called, and I listened to them, and I heard the song called Pissed. I was like, that song fucking rips. So, yeah, definitely a great song.
They're good guys too, man. Like they're like super cool guys.
That's the way to be. Rhino, what you got, my friend?
Let's see. Well, I'm out of Baltimore, so have you guys had any memorable Baltimore shows?
Oh yeah, pretty much all of them. The last time we played there was June, I think it was. We played with that band Noel from Tennessee, and and Antichrist Demon Corps, and that place was packed. It was at Metro Gallery, and it was oh, it was a good one. But also we played with Pig Destroyer there once, and that was incredible. We played with Integrity there. It was awesome. Obviously, Maryland Death Fest, when we played that, it was unbelievable. Yeah, we've never really played we played with Terrorizer and Nile in Baltimore, and that show wasn't very good.
No,
that was not a good show. But every other show we played in Baltimore was good.
Yeah, it's a challenge even while I'm in the county, but like, going to Metro and such. Do I want to get off by Druid Hill Drive, or do I want to go down North Avenue? Neither seem wise.
Do you know that club, the Depot there?
Oh God.
Yeah. So back in like oh man, maybe like 2001, 2002, there was apparently a homeless guy robbing people with a syringe full of blood with AIDS blood, he said.
Oh,
So, and that always sticks out to me over every time I'm over there at the Metro Gallery. I always think about that. I'm like, I wonder what that guy's up to.
I would take the blood over the sound system at Depot.
Yeah. We won't play the Depot. Like we just won't do it. We've been asked a couple times and we're just like, nah.
Who asked you, Critter?
Well, yeah, Critter has asked us, but I told him, I was like, I don't know, man, get an auto bar or something like that, and we'll play. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you could book, you could book like fucking insect warfare reunion could be at the Depot, and there would be 12 people there. You know what I mean? Like,
that's all it fits.
Well, it just people don't go to it. Like they just don't go. Like Metallica could play there and they wouldn't be able to sell it out. So that place is just, it sucks.
All right, then. Since I like to go off topic, what's on top of your musical bucket list?
Napalm Death tour, Dying Fetus tour. I think those are the only two goals that we ever had as a band that we haven't reached yet.
Nice.
So, like every other goal we've ever had, like we have long surpassed. So we're just kind of, everything we do now is just kind of a surprise.
All right, and delving in a little, do you come from a musical family?
Not really.
No.
Nah, my dad played guitar like a little bit when I was younger, but not like seriously.
Yeah, I get that. What you got, Alvin?
Well, let's see here, Rhinoceros. John, you have a guitar nearby that you could show us?
My nephews. I don't have my guitar.
Okay, well,
my nephew.
I was going to say
my nephew has this like little mini Ibanez.
Hey, that's not
bad. Yeah, that segment wouldn't work out well. Show me your nephew's axe. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's so hot, dude. Fuck it. You took the words right out of my mouth, Ryan. Get out of my head. Shit, that was
scary.
That was golden right there, man. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. You were stuffed in some dark corner of my brain and you just had to dig that out, didn't you? Well, back to this guy that supposedly had a syringe with blood and it was AIDS blood. I don't know if you realize this, Sean, but you made a pun while you were talking about that. You said it sticks out.
I suppose I did, and I didn't do that purposely because I'm not that clever.
Hey, sometimes you can surprise yourself with things, you know what I'm saying? Because here I am going on 45 in April, and I'm still coming up with some funny shit that people are like, how'd you come up with that? Why'd you think about that? Because some people don't think about those fucking things. That's why. But I do have one more question.
Yeah, I didn't. What's that?
What's the craziest thing that you've ever seen while performing?
Well, there's been a lot of them. I didn't see it per se, but when we were playing at MDF, that kid jumped off the roof and committed suicide, and that was while we were playing.
Holy shit.
So we got off stage and we were like super stoked because like the show was so good. And like we walked outside and there was like cops everywhere and everybody's upset and we're like, what happened? And they told us, and we're like, fuck, okay.
Damn.
But we didn't see that. Things that we've seen while playing. One time we played in Virginia Beach and two girls got into a fight in the pit while we were playing. And one of them got hit so hard they started having a seizure.
Jesus.
Yeah, we had to stop, wait for them to get a hold of that whole situation. Another time playing in Virginia Beach, there was a riot at the club because a fight broke out during our set. Let me see. There's another time we played in Arkansas. Some kid had a seizure in the pit. So usually any of that type of stuff gets like really weird because it's just I don't know, it's creepy. There's another time in Arkansas. It's a little bit off topic, but we were on tour and we didn't have our cabs with us because we were borrowing cabs for the tour just to save on space. And the band who was going to let us use their cabs locked the cabs in their car. And so they were trying to get a hold of someone with a spare key. They couldn't do it. It was almost time for us to play. So this kid just took a rock and broke his own window out to get the cab out so I could use it. That was cool.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah,
my buddy Kevin. You met Kevin down at NAC and down DC for the Cro-Mags. He was drum teching for G-Man.
Oh yeah. I remember the Napalm Death guy. No, he was wearing a Napalm Death shirt.
He couldn't have been, not Kevin. He had his Cro-Mags hoodie on.
You sure you didn't have a Napalm Death?
Later. You'll remember him.
Okay.
But he showed up to a show, I think it was Reading, PA, Reverb. And he's like, "Where's your drums?" He said, "I'm going to borrow them from the opener." Like, we are the opener. Somebody had the Russian drum.
Damn.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that happened. That happened a lot.
Yeah, gear share can get pretty weird.
Speaking. Sorry, go ahead, John.
What?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. Usually, gear share is like one of the most stressful parts of touring. It's just there's always shit in the way, and somebody's always using something different, and it just I don't know. That stuff stresses me out.
Yeah, I mean, drums are convenient, but they take so long to dial in for each drummer, especially the breakables, that it just does not save time.
Well, if you got your drummer is on their game, like our drummer can set up pretty quick, and his stuff's tuned really well. It takes more time when he has to use someone else's drums and it's out of tune, or like there's like broken shit, like then he's like fucking with it. But usually, if our drummer just sets his drums up, he's ready to go within like 7 minutes.
But too cool. Yeah, real quick before I forget, if you play Baltimore again, check out Zen West.
Zen West, what's that?
It's a club right on Northern Parkway, like right on the edge of Towson. Amazing sound system, amazing stage, killer food.
Will do. We will definitely check that out. I never even heard of them before. Is it new?
They're great to the bands.
Cool.
All right. Do you have any OCD habits while touring?
Oh, yeah, I do. I mean, I'm very like, and I'm even like that at home. I'm just very particular. Like, I like my stuff being in like where I can find it. Like I like having my space and my space being clean and organized. And sometimes that's hard when you're sharing a space with 3 other guys, and they're not necessarily like that. Like, I'm not gonna say who, but one of our guys is like, his shit is always everywhere. I mean, like it's like his luggage fucking explodes all over the place. So, so like I get real OCD about wanting my own space to be organized with all of my stuff.
I'm gonna guess he plays drums.
No,
okay.
No, it's not him.
In the back of Comet, it was like an explosion of cymbal stands.
That was, it was just that was all the band's shit.
Yeah.
So it was, And I think the opening band, they had their stuff like kind of like everywhere.
Okay, that was Palau, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, they yeah, I don't know that I remember that back room being like a mess.
Yeah,
Like Harley came in and was telling
yeah,
us all to like reorganize everything. We were like, what?
yeah. I'm just sitting there before he got there thinking this can't be good. This is not.
Yeah.
He has to do his workout and all that crazy stuff back there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, like, especially like on tour OCD wise, like I always have to have like hand sanitizer because everything is fucking dirty all the time. It's weird, like when I'm at home, I'm like not like, but on the road, I'm just like really like weird. Yeah, I think especially since like COVID and stuff, like I get kind of OCD about like people talking too close to me and stuff. You know, like like somebody's like sitting here talking in my face and they're like kind of coughing and stuff. I'm like, okay, like somebody, I'm not gonna say who, but somebody on the tour, not in my band, and one of the other packages. It was like third night in, was standing there talking to me in my face and coughed in my face.
Oh,
And then a week later, I got sick and was sick for the rest of the tour. So like I definitely get like kind of like weird about that when I'm on the road now.
did you ever see anybody lately wearing a mask in the mosh pit?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's still people at the shows and they show up with the masks on and stuff, and that's cool. Like whatever makes them comfortable. Me personally, I don't know that they work that well because
They own it all, unfortunately.
yeah, I mean, when everyone was wearing masks, I still caught COVID. So, and most people did. So it's like, whatever. If you're gonna go out in public, you're gonna get sick, and I know that. So it's fine, but it's I don't need somebody like coughing in my face to make it a little easier.
Yeah, I can't picture it, but yeah, I have a guess, but I'm not. Maybe maybe he was inhaling something at that time.
Think the
No, he wasn't. He wasn't from my band.
No, no, I mean the other band you're talking about.
Um, no, no,
Okay,
no, he wasn't doing anything like that.
yeah, that's nuts. What you got, Alvin?
Well, let's see here, guys. We got 9 minutes left in this segment, but I'm going to throw a question out there that has to do with performing again. Now,
Okay.
John, while you've been performing live, has there ever been an instance, like, say, for an example, someone yells at you between songs and says that you guys suck? Or say, for an example, someone throws something at you and pisses you off? Have you ever seen any of that happen?
No. I guess I'm lucky that's never happened to any of the bands that I've been in. If someone doesn't like it, I guess they just keep their mouth shut, I guess. But one time, and this was in an older band, and this was years ago. We were playing, and the crowd was getting rowdy, and they tried to shut the show down. They tried to stop us while we were playing, and we just kept playing, even though they turned the PA off. And the singer was just like yelling at the crowd, and we were like just playing. And a security guard comes up. I didn't know who it was, but I just felt somebody grab me and grab my guitar out of my hand, and I just turned around and I just decked this motherfucker. And then that started like a whole brawl. But it wasn't like you know, it wasn't like somebody saying we sucked or anything. It was just security, you know.
Yeah,
So I a lot of the security guards tend to, nah.
get a little overkill. Most of them are like off-duty cops.
Yeah, and if you know anything about our band, we don't like that very much.
Yeah, did you get now real quick going to Death Fest? Was that your first Death Fest that you played?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because there was the Baltimore riots broke out during Death Fest years back.
I remember. Yeah, I remember when the riots broke out, but I wasn't at Death Fest that year. I actually wasn't living in DC or Maryland at the time.
Okay.
But I remember when that happened.
That's just, yeah. Well, I would say only in Baltimore, but it's all around.
Yeah, it's everywhere for sure. Well, I'm going to ask one more question, and then Rhino, I'm going to throw it back to you, my friend.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let me ask you this, John. When it comes to extreme metal, what band do you find to be the most underrated?
Underrated?
Yeah.
This is one of the ones where there's a lot of answers.
Could name a few.
Oh, let me think. Just give me 1 second. I I don't know. There's can it be a newer band?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the band Vomit Forth. I think there's other bands doing that same thing that aren't as good that get a lot more praise. I think those guys are really, really good. Probably like one of the better bands we've toured with for sure. So I definitely think that they're underrated. I think that, yeah, I would definitely say them.
That's awesome. Well, let's see what Snuffleupagus has over there for you.
All right.
Like 5 minutes left, Rhino.
All right. What musical influence do you have that would surprise your fans?
Well, the Nirvana thing for sure. But, other than that, like we all listen to like a lot of like 80s new wave stuff like in the van. Um, I mean shit like I mean we're talking like we'll be like rocking Eddie Money and shit like that. But like we listen to a lot of like post-punk goth stuff like Drab Majesty, She Passed Away, The Cure, shit like that. We're real into, and I don't know. It kind of has an effect on our music a bit.
Yeah.
I would say definitely like the goth. All the industrial electronic stuff that we listen to.
Yeah, no way. I mean, I definitely dig it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, when we're on tour, we're playing every single day. There's usually like one or two opening bands, then us, and then there's like two more bands, and it's like it's constant metal. So like when we're in the van, the last thing we want to do is listen to metal because it's like we're listening to it constantly. So we found that listening to Depeche Mode, and stuff like that, it makes the drives go by a little faster. We also, well, me and our singer, like we listen to a lot of rap and stuff. Our singer listens to mostly rap. So I mean, that, and that's certainly an influence on us. I mean, that's one of the reasons why he has like, pretty catchy vocal patterns, and his vocals have like its own rhythm, that a lot of extreme metal vocalists don't have. And that just all comes from, his influences come from rap.
No, it works out. Whatever works for anybody. I will tell you, though, I think it was Motley Crue a couple of years ago. I'm at the gym and I have Motley Crue in, and I just stopped. Oh, holy shit! I'm sweating to the oldies. This is bad.
we love Motley Crue too, for sure.
But to realize that stuff was almost 40 years old at that point, and that was a couple of years ago. I'm
thinking
they're
past 40 now.
Our parents for the sweating to the oldies, listening to stuff in the 60s. So
I think they just had the Shout at the Devil 40th anniversary.
Yeah,
that's insane because I had that record. It was like a year old when I was a little kid.
Hey, my next question for you, John, before I hand it over to Rhino, would be this. While you're on stage performing, how do you sustain your energy? Like, do you say drink a lot of water before going on stage, keep a healthy, balanced diet while on tour and all that stuff? Sorry, I know it sounds like a loaded question, but it's not meant to be like that.
I don't know. There's just some nights that there is some nights where it's like there's just no energy. I mean, it has to do a lot with the crowd. Like if it's like a weak crowd or whatever, then it kind of bums you out a little bit. Which we tend to get in the South. And the South don't like us. But I mean, I don't know, like definitely drink water. Try not to drink too much alcohol. Yeah, that's the shit that burns us out real quick. When we first started, our set lists were only like 9 minutes long or some shit like that. And we would get up there like drunk as shit, crushing beers, and like we would just like go on 10, like throwing our guitars around, going crazy, like punching the floors and everything. Like our singer would be going, like every one of us would just be like going crazy. But when we started doing these bigger package tours, like we have to play like a half an hour, and we can't do that anymore. Like we have to like conserve our energy to be able to get through it. Like a lot of other bands, like they can like throw their guitars around and like throw out tons of energy, but they're playing music that's like a lot slower. Like our shit is like really difficult to keep it like straight. I don't know. So we the answer to the question is we just conserve while we're playing, honestly, like just knowing like the limits of what we can do.
So pretty much once the crowd starts throwing down, you guys throw down harder, as Aaron Nobles from Crusaders would put it. What's up, Aaron?
Sometimes, but again, it's like we gotta watch, because if we're doing the shit that we're doing and then we just go too hard into it, then like we're winded for a song. Like our drummer especially, like he needs like breaks and shit. So yeah, I don't know. It took us a long time to like just learn what to do and what not to do. And then that helps the energy. It helps us be able to keep, basically, instead of just going on 10 and then being worn out for the set, like we just like keep everything consistent. Like we might hold back a little more now, but it's like consistent energy.
That's awesome, dude. I love that answer.
So, and that just comes from playing all the time and just learning, and learning each other as well. Like, I pay a lot of attention to our drummer. Like even while we're playing, like if there's like a slight break, I'll be like, "Hey, you good? You need to space it out a little longer," or like he'll look at me and just be, like nod to me. That means all right, it's time to go. So it's a lot of shit like that, like working together to make sure everyone's cool. Or like there was when I had bronchitis real bad, it was like the first night I ended up going to the emergency room and to get antibiotics and stuff, and then we got out of the emergency room and went right to the venue. And I was laying in the van, and everybody was like, "Don't worry, we'll set your shit up for you. All you got to do is just come in and play." And I'm like, "Okay." And like so I'm laying in the van, sleeping. They're like, "Okay, we're about to play." So I go on stage, grab my shit, make sure everything's working. And the whole time while I'm playing, like everybody's like, "Dude, you okay? You need water?" Like in between the songs and stuff like that. So we take care of each other too,
That's cool. You have to, because you guys are like family. You know what I mean?
Oh, hold on. Oh shit! Sorry, my cat's just got into a fight. That just scared the shit out of me.
Oh,
We
shit.
had a dog cancel a show a while back.
Yeah.
Rob Machete from MOD, his dog jumped on his lap and the tail sent his camera flying.
Yes. Yes, that was the best thing in the world. Camera shut off and all that jazz. It was great. He's like, keep that in
You
there.
just saw this tail come, bam.
That was the
Shit,
best.
man. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Like it happened like right in front of me, and it like scared the shit out of me. I was like, "What the fuck just happened?"
That's funny. I've got a cat too, bro. Heck yeah.
Yeah, man.
Rhino, what questions you got for John?
Well, real quick first, you'll understand this. Because of Harley, I still drink liquid IV every day.
Oh yeah.
It still does work.
The ringworm guys got me on that tour.
Okay.
It was the bass player Ed. There was one day there was one night we all were all drinking together, and those guys are older than me, and like I got to the venue the next day, and I'm like, I look like a fucking corpse. And these guys are all like bright and chipper and everything. I'm like, how in the fuck do you guys? How are you not feeling like I am? And Ed was like, liquid IV, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then so he gave me one. It didn't work that day. You got to drink it before you go to sleep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So now, yeah, it's just kind of expensive. But
oh yes, there's also Noon NUUN. It's like half the price, rated the same.
Oh really?
They just don't taste as good.
I will check that out.
So chug it. But again,
Kind of busy here.
Like to go off topic. Do you have any paranormal experiences? If so, would you like to tell us about them?
Not really. I mean, nah. I haven't really had any paranormal experiences.
All right. So again, we'll just go. Tell us about not so much Nomos, but your first ever tour in a nutshell.
First tour I ever did, it was a DIY tour. It was in 98, 99, something like that. And, we just we had no idea what we were in for. Like we thought we were going to get the venues and there was just going to be like food and alcohol and money and everything we needed, like we were so fucking stupid. And, it was a fucking disaster, man. Vans breaking down. Back then, we didn't have GPS and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So, like, I would go to sleep, and then one of the guys that are driving don't know how to read a fucking map, and then we end up, hundreds of miles from where we need to be, and and then everybody has no fucking money, and there was some kid at the show, like we were like hungry, and like we weren't getting paid anything because these were DIY shows. And some kid gave us a bag of milk bones, like a fucking dog food. We ate those motherfuckers too.
I used to eat those.
For breakfast, we would dip them in peanut butter, and for dinner, we would put hot sauce on them.
You got to try the ranch dip.
Yeah, so some kid just gave us a big bag of them, and he was like, "Here, it's a lot of protein and stuff." So.
It is, but
they didn't taste that great.
Also has protein.
We couldn't afford it.
I mean, if he's going to give you milk bones, he could have gave you a human food.
I wasn't gonna like, I wasn't gonna argue. No. He was just like, here's this. So I was like, okay, I guess that's it. That is what it is.
I'm clapping my hands over here for you, dude. I've done the same thing. And it's funny that milk bones, and I'm going to tell you real quick as to why. Back when my brother and I were kids, we broke one apart, and there was a cow hair in it. I shit you. Oh. Yeah, it was weird. It was all white. Just the most awful thing.
Another thing. Well, a good thing I don't eat milk bones anymore because that just ruined it for me. But.
Okay.
On that tour, back then they would have like fixins bars at fast food restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
So like like Arby's, Roy Rogers, and all those places, they would have like their little fixins bar. So
last onion and tomato.
we would just go in and get like lettuce and all the toppings and stuff, and we had like a thing of salad dressing, and so with free salads, shit like that. But yeah, thankfully, it's not that hard anymore. Like we at least eat and have places to sleep and stuff, so that's good.
And the GPS thing, my God, New York, Jesus, DC with GPS is a nightmare. So,
well, shit. We did like this particular tour. My first tour was like,
I just mean me going into DC.
Oh yeah,
like I lost my car at Comet. Like
really?
The one goes over and it splits into four roads on the other side.
That area is kind of easy. It's just off Connecticut Avenue.
Yeah, but the road, when you went over, it was one road on this side, and when you got over the Connecticut, it turned into four roads.
I don't know. I've never had problems over there, but there is parts of DC that I still get lost in, and I grew up here, so
yeah.
I don't know. A lot of the guys in the band, they're younger, like they're just now in their 30s and stuff, so they never drove without GPS,
right?
So like I'll be telling them that on tour. I'm like, dude, when I did my first couple of tours, we didn't have GPS. Like we had to use like actual maps. Like we just had a like a book, like a notebook full of addresses, and that's where it was to go, And they were like, "What? Like you mean like a map in a book?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude. Like that's how we got around."
Yeah, and like around 2000, we got lucky. We could print it out on MapQuest.
Yep.
Yeah, that was.
Even that, you miss your turn, it doesn't reroute you.
Wasn't always right either, But
no.
that made things a little easier, in the 2000s. But touring in the 90s was that was hard.
Yeah, I remember traveling with my folks, and we were going up to Canada, and my dad took a wrong turn. And he's like, "Oh, what do I do now?" Well, get off on the next exit.
Up to Mexico.
Damn, Rhino. Damn. That was funny. I got 4 questions.
No, I'll ask Al's real quick. I'm going to cut him off and ask his favorite question. OnlyFans or Pornhub?
Here we go again.
Neither.
Awesome answer.
Yeah, that's not really a. But I mean, if I was gonna pick, it would probably be Pornhub because it's free. Because I don't like paying for things. I'm so poor I can't afford anything. So, but yeah, I mean, neither. I don't really. That's not really my thing.
Yeah, porn sucks.
What you got, Alvin?
Well, as I was saying, porn defeats the purpose, But what the fuck?
Hold on, Al like only hamster or something like that.
No, you like only yams. Look at turkey. Cooked turkey.
that would I'd be into for sure.
All right, I got.
That would be sick.
I got 4 questions for you. I just came up with these ones. What tuning do you play in? I play in D standard and also top C.
Well, our first album and first 2 EPs were in C sharp, and we did that specifically because of Dying Fetus.
Sick.
And then when we did Consume, Deny, Repent, we tuned to D standard, because like we were like, oh, that's what Napalm Death did, and we didn't like that at all. So we're in C standard now. And that's what the last demo is in, but the new record might be in B standard.
Oh, nice.
We're kind of all over the place.
A little sludgy in a way.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. Like I like doing different shit. Like I don't like. I feel like every time like I'm staying one tuning too long, like I get kind of bored with it, and I'm kind of starting to figure that out.
Yeah, I can relate to that because that happens to me sometimes because I like to switch it up because I got three electrics. I got my 6 string, 7 string, and an 8 string. So I just play whatever I can on each of them. And it's fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, as far as beats per minute go, what's the fastest beats per minute Noma song?
Man, they're all pretty up there, man. There's 2 songs on our first album that are at 300.
Damn.
I think the first song on Raised Mal Case Study is I think it's like 295, and the last song on Raised Mal is like 305.
That's insane.
Back then when we were doing that, like that was like the only goal was like fast, like we wanted to be like insect warfare and just faster than everybody, but that got really old. Like, like I don't know, like we all got real bored with just playing nothing but super fast. So that's why I Consume the Night Repent. There's a lot more like kind of like groovy parts, and there's more to sink your teeth into. But even that, like that song Exile is, I think it's like 265, 270.
Damn. That's a good song too. I like that one.
Yeah, they're all pretty up there, but then we'll have like the slower songs that are under 200, to like groove to or whatever. There's one song that I've been working on, like a newer one for the record. I've been working on it all week, and that one's at 255, and that one's, and it's got like double bass in it too. So our drummer's gonna really be mad at me.
Well, that's okay. We won't say nothing. I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
He hasn't heard it yet, but by the time this podcast comes out, he will have heard it. So
okay, fair enough then. I hope he subscribes, and I hope you do too. Okay,
I definitely will.
I got 2 more questions, and then I'm gonna send it back to Rhino. Okay.
What's that?
What was the very first musical instrument that you had played with me as recorder?
It's drums, actually.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I don't know why, man. Like, I was interested in drums first. I was like 5 years old or whatever, and I got a drum set. And you know what? I honestly think that, like, because like my grandma would always be like, "Here, take your drum set in your room," or take it here. Like, having to move my drum set around at like a young age, I was like, "Yeah, that's not for me."
Yeah, state to state obviously is even worse.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's, drummers, like their setup is ridiculous. Like they're like what we all load in. I'll have all my stuff set up on stage, and then I go and, like, I don't know, I'll go get food or something before a sound check or go to the bar or something like that, and he's still setting up his drums and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was weird at a young age. I think I wouldn't have been able to tell you that back then, but I guess there was just something in me that was like, you don't want to do this. This is the least fun instrument.
You're the sweatiest motherfucker at the end of the set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, like, it's a lot of pressure on drummers. Like, if I fuck up, you're probably not going to hear it, because everything's like so loud. If he fucks up, like, it's everybody, and even people who don't know the songs are going to be like, "Oh, that drummer just fucked up." So it's a lot of pressure.
These guys have any plans of like looking in the in-ears click tracks?
Nah.
No.
Nah, the click track thing is like, I think that's good for like more technical type bands, but like we do a lot of different tempos within our songs.
Right.
And it all depends on like how, like, it's like a lot of our songs are written off of like feel, like
yeah,
it's like a general feeling. And
Agreed.
like, yeah, like, but even the faster songs, like if you were to put them up to a click track, it, like, every single part's like in a different timing, or and I don't know. I just think that sounds cooler. It sounds like more human. And
Yeah, that's what I like. I want to hear mistakes, not
Yeah.
like total fuck ups, but I want to hear, I'm there
yeah,
the band, not an album.
Yeah, it's definitely more
yeah. I mean,
fun, more
it's
natural.
like it's like I'd much rather listen to fucking The Bleeding than an Archspire record. Like
Or
it's
6 feet
just not.
under.
Well, I'm not too into 6 feet under,
Me either. I can only
but
take so much of that.
yeah, that. Oh man, how the mighty have fallen.
Well, this is my fourth question. Then I'm going to send it over to Rhino, John. Okay. Okay.
Hmm?
This one I just came up with. And Rhino, you might like this one. Okay,
I
John.
hope you can remember it.
Oh, I already did remember it. Trust me. That's why it's on my mind right now. So cool it, bro. I know you're laughing. It's all good. You like to tease me. I'm cool with that. All right, John. If you could record any band's album and make it your own, what band would you love to record an album and try to make it your own? And just rewrite the whole idea.
South of Heaven.
Okay,
South of Heaven.
that makes sense.
I,
That's
I've
fun.
always wanted to hear that album with a heavier guitar tone.
Maybe you guys could do a cover of one of the songs off of it sometime. Do you guys ever do any covers?
No, it's
That's
funny
my
you mention that
preference.
though, because we're in serious talks about covering a song on South of Heaven, and it's not one of the more known ones.
All right. I
So
can understand
that
that.
that's something that might actually happen.
That wouldn't be
Yeah,
a
it's
bad
good to have
idea.
one in your back pocket if the band before you goes on, they're off early, whatever. Yeah, just to have that extra song time.
Yeah, as
Yeah, I
you
mean, I wanted to, I wanted us to cover the intro to Hell Awaits for MDF, but I couldn't get the other guys on board with it. Like I wanted us to come out playing Hell Awaits, and I couldn't get the other guys on board with it. But I think that would have been really sick.
I heard Vader cover that last year with Crisian and Decrepit Birth. It was sick as fuck, dude. It was,
Damn, really?
yeah. Decrepit Birth did Once Upon the Cross, and Crisian did Ace of Spades.
Ooh.
It was so sick, dude.
You know who? There's two bands that covered Hell Awaits: Earth Crisis, which did a fucking awesome job, and Cradle of Filth.
I remember
Both
Earth
of them.
Crisis. That's going way back, dude.
Yeah.
Early 90s and even mid 90s and shit like that. Earth Crisis.
Oh yeah. That's
To me, what will be the baddest cover ever still Anna Got a Vita by Slayer.
yeah, that's a good one.
That's
It
actually
is.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, by the way, it's funny. Right here, 2008 Death Fest original poster.
Oh hell yeah.
There. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
I
Look at
didn't
that.
touch. Kevin's like, grab a poster. I'm like, no, no one should touch those posters until Harley's here and decides where they should go.
Yeah, he
So
usually
we're
doesn't
leaving.
care.
He's like, here's a poster.
You gotta get that shit signed, Rhino.
Yeah.
That looks
Well,
sick.
no, it's only Harley now, and I don't know about Dom on that end. And I mean, no Moss, I could,
Yeah.
but
Well, Dom's still in Cro-Mags. The other two guys quit.
yeah,
But
not sure what happened. I hear different stuff. I try not to get in the middle of it.
I kind of just I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't imagine it's an easy band to be in, so I can't say. But who knows?
Yeah, I mean, Harley and I hit it off instantly because we're both OCD as fuck.
I got along with Harley
Yeah,
very well. There's other people on the tour, not in our band, but like I seen there was definitely some contention, whatever. He was always cool to me, but I wasn't a dick. I'm older,
right.
so I knew how to act and knew how to behave myself. So it's I don't know. I didn't have a problem with him. I thought he was actually kind of funny.
Yeah. And I mean, I like his aspect on life.
Yeah.
I mean, the song in particular, "World Peace," cannot be done. It's right. There's no such thing.
Yeah.
So,
And that was cool, like touring with them because I am a Cro-Mags fan, so it was cool getting to see those songs every night. And it was really cool to see them play songs that, were on, Best Wishes, and Alpha Omega too. That was really cool. Because I always like those two albums a lot because it's a little more metal and they had like the shredding in it. So it was cool seeing that. I don't know. I really enjoyed that tour. I had a lot of fun on that one.
so again, totally off topic. What are your hobbies outside of music?
That's a good
Man, I used to have. This shit consumes me now. Like I don't do anything other than when we're not practicing, I'm at home, just writing music.
Any
It's
sports like watch, compete?
I like basketball a lot. I like hockey. But I haven't been able to keep up with it. Like last year I did. Last year was a little more like slow. I had like more time, and so I would watch basketball and hockey a lot. But this year it's just been, yeah, it's so far into the season and like being on tour and everything, I really
Yep.
couldn't. Me and our bass player, like there was like one night we went to the bar and we watched the Caps game while we were on tour, and that was cool, just to like unwind. But ever since I've been home from this tour, I've been like I wake up at 7 a.m. every day, and I basically just get on my computer and I work until like maybe 1 p.m. like writing and like demoing new stuff to show the
Right.
guys. So the sooner the new album's done, the quicker we can go back on tour. So that's right now. It's like I can't think of anything else other than just getting that done.
Yeah, you guys got to come back when that's about to debut. We'll
Oh yeah, for sure.
give us a listen, and we'll go through it.
Yeah, that for sure. You can get Roger the next time so you can ask him about all the lyrics and stuff.
Yeah.
If you guys come to Atlanta, I'm there. I live in Georgia.
Dude, we were just there on my birthday actually in November.
I'm sorry that I missed it.
Everybody missed it because the venue made us play at 6:30. There was no openers. And doors opened at 6:30 and they made us play at 6:30. And when we went up on stage, there was 3 fucking people in the front. And like we were like, wow, well thank you guys for coming in. They were like, oh, we were lucky and found parking.
Yeah.
I was like, huh? So we played by the end of the set there was like maybe 10 people in there. And so like we're off and we're like, man, this is like the worst fucking show. I like this is fucking why did we even come here? People coming up to the merch table buying merch and they're like, oh, when do you guys play? And we're like, we already played. And they're like, what? They were like, we were just outside looking for parking, like because there was like nowhere to park apparently. And it was like right during the band after us, there was like all these people were finally getting there, and there was tons of people that were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that you guys played already! Like, 6:30, man,
Crazy."
And it was only the three bands on the package. I'm like, why would you have this show this early?
Yeah, I mean the rush hour crowd still hasn't gotten out.
Yeah, and it was just it sucked, man. Like it was.
That's what I'm saying. That sucks, dude.
Yeah.
What time we got out, Al?
7:20.
No, we have 7 minutes 20 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, some
I look stoned.
Nah, not really.
There was quite a few venues on this tour, this last tour we did, where it was like just like the doors were at 5:30 and shit, and then like the first band would go on at like 6:15, and like we would go on at like 7 o'clock, and I'm just like, dude, no one's gonna come that early. Like people are like just getting off work and shit. So, all the shows on the last tour that went good were like, when we would go on at like 8, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right. I think it was right around 6:32. My friends of mine, I was helping the drummer and then photographing the band, and they went on at 6:30. It was at Baltimore Soundstage. Like what?
Yeah, it's that shit's so stupid.
People were still filtering in. I mean, there might have been 40 people when their set was over.
Yeah, and then
an
hour or two later, the place is packed because I mean, it's like it doesn't matter. Like like if you have a job, like you can't like just take off work to go to a fucking show.
Right.
Like people usually get off around 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, you got to plan that shit in advance by far, man. It's the only way to do it.
Now,
nowadays, if you want to go to a show,
you got to have an incentive to bring people in to hear all the bands. But unfortunately, some of these promoters only care about the headliner. That's all they care about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the shows like being over early and stuff, but it doesn't make for a successful show. Like usually the earlier shows are the ones people don't go to.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
5 minutes left.
What you got, Alvin?
Well, gonna ask the last two questions.
That works.
As always, it's been a blast talking with you today, John. Thank you for a portion of your time. I'm glad you could be a part of this podcast. I enjoyed having you here.
Oh, yeah, man. It's fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, John, I told you, like, when I mentioned, I'm like, there's this badass band called Nomos. And Al is, like, not that close to Atlanta. And he's like, oh, shit, that fucking encore band. Oh, my God.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you guys are so fucking rad. It just blows my mind that we got to talk to you tonight. So you guys deserve 10 horns.
Well, I appreciate it.
So
hell yeah.
And you're welcome, my friend. You're welcome to send me a friend request if you want to on Facebook. I'll have Rhino send you that info. But anyway, the last two.
You're not very hard to find out.
I know I'm not. I'm pretty popular.
If send me one and I'll accept it, because if I go to search it and I don't find it, then I'll get sidetracked and then forget.
All right. Fair enough.
Send me one and I'll accept it.
Will do. Okay. 3 minutes left. Last two questions. John, what would you like to say to your fans real briefly?
Say that again? It was breaking up.
What would you like to say to your fans real briefly?
Thanks for actually listening to us. We can't be an easy band to listen to, so I appreciate everyone that actually likes it and supports it.
Yeah, you got my support, bro.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
I still find it like it's always like really weird, like when people like the band or like know the songs and stuff. I'm just like surprised by it. I mean, I guess it's all the years of like playing to nobody. Like now I'm like in a band that like people actually like, and like I still sort of don't believe it, Like I'm just like, nah.
There's nothing wrong with that, dude. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Oh, but it's cool because I mean, like, there's bands that we tour with, and like they're like they know that they're like I don't know, like to us it's just always surprised, like if somebody comes up and they're like, oh, like I don't know, like this one girl got like our first album tattoo, like our first album cover tattooed on like her whole inner thigh, and like just her showing that to us like blew my fucking mind. Like I was like, what? Wow. You know what I mean? So like we always just stay surprised like that people actually like us.
Where you at, Al, with time?
2 minutes.
Oh, 2 still?
2 minutes.
I thought you were rushing. Maybe you're rushing.
No, I'm American last time I checked. All right. You have any final words for Underground Noise Webzine, John?
Well, thanks for having me, first off.
You're welcome.
And I'm really bad at this part. I just, thanks for the support,
You got it.
Oh, thank you. And before he ends it, what's the deal with the fucking bathrooms at Comet?
I have no idea. From DC. I couldn't find them. That show was the first time I had ever even been there, and it's the last, and I haven't been there since.
There was a conspiracy theory about people ordering kids and pizza and trying to find those bathrooms. I think it might have been right.
Oh no, the basement is where the conspiracy is, but there's not really a basement. I guess I don't.
Where do you hide your bathrooms?
I don't know. I couldn't find them, but they look like the wall, like
40
like you push on the wall and it opens.